Dear Rector, colleagues, students, and guests, I would like to welcome you to the fourth lecture in this lecture series that the Faculty of Arts and Sciences has organized to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Robert College and Boğaziçi University. We are very fortunate to have with us today our speaker, a direct descendant of Cyrus Hamlin, Professor Edward Widmer. Not only he uniquely qualified by birth to talk about Cyrus Hamlin and Robert College, but also by virtue of the fact that he's a professor of American history.
The official starting date of the college was September 16th, 1863, so we have a few months before the very precise anniversary. And only last Friday, I was at Columbia University's library in New York, where a lot of the original records are kept, and I found a letter written by Cyrus Hamlin on that day to Christopher Robert on September 16th, 1863, and he went into with great detail and with great pride. He described that first day, and he opened the letter, "My dear sir, the Robert College of Constantinople was open this day. We had a very pleasant and interesting time." And I think 150 years later, we can still say it is pleasant and it is certainly interesting. Walking around this campus, doing whatever needed to be done on a given day, fixing a door that didn't work, jumping down a well to talk to the workmen, losing a finger in the construction of Hamlin Hall. And among other things, I feel connected to that fact that there's a finger of Cyrus Hamlin somewhere on this campus, which this isn't a medieval shrine where old bones like that are kept, but there is the pull of ancient DNA. Gulen and I had dinner last night, and she reminded me that not only was she here in 1963 at the 100th, but by virtue of the fact that she has been here 50 years, she's been here for 1/3 of the entire history of Robert College. So it's not so far away. My father is only the great-grandson of Cyrus. I mean, Cyrus Hamlin had a lot of children. He had 9 daughters, which I think explains his feminism. And some of them were born well into his time here, and it was one of his younger daughters who was the mother of my grandmother. So it's not too many generations for us either, back to the founding. Nationality certainly remains an important fact of life, but so does the ability to build bridges to other peoples. And that's where Robert College and now Boğaziçi University have truly made a difference. Because as the world daily becomes more globalized, with its peoples talking in a constant clamor in real time, the extraterritorial example of Robert College and Boğaziçi University will never cease to be relevant. So let me end by thanking the rector and Gulen for the invitation and all of you for coming. And we may never find Cyrus Hamlin's finger on this campus, but I hope you will keep inviting me back, and I promise to learn a few new facts every time I return. So thank you so much. Yes, the young man in the front row.
Okay. Now, I was going to ask you an easy question, but something that's intrigued me since I first learned about Cyrus Hamlin. His first choice was not Turkey. His first choice was Africa, or preferably China.
That's right.
And so have you looked much into the American missionary schools in China, which were just as influential there?
That's right.
Yeah. Have you been to Tsinghua University, for example?
No, I haven't, although my parents certainly have. Both of my parents are China scholars. My mother still is a professor of Chinese literature, and she spent a lot of time over there studying the missionary tradition in China.
There are 2 institutions, one in Hong Kong. It's called the Chinese University of Hong Kong. That's the modern name, contemporary name. And then in Japan, there's Doshisha. Now, these 2 universities are Congregationalist, and they, again, come from the same links as Cyrus Hamlin. And interestingly enough, they were established only like a couple of years ahead of Robert College. So I suspect that generation, surely they must have known each other.
Cyrus Hamlin gives the impression of being, he was a tough little guy, but he's a very sophisticated mind that he doesn't get credit for.
Unfortunately, all the toughness went out of the family, and now we just have intellectuals like me. But I can't hammer a nail to save my life.
Well, where I come from, intellectual is a bad word, let me tell you.
Remember, Farouk, the fishing when we went on the boat a few years ago in the Bosphorus, and I suddenly felt a pain in my hand, and a fisherman on the side had thrown and had caught my hand. And fortunately, I got the hook out before I was pulled into the water. It would have been pretty surprising to the fisherman to pull me into his net. But yeah, right, yeah.
Well, I just would like to thank you for being with us today. And I know that we are all very proud of being a part of this cultural heritage and this legacy. Would you please join me to express our gratitude to all those who contributed to this university, starting with Cyrus Hamlin. So thank you very much for being with us in joining this gratitude show. Thank you. Also, I would like to make an announcement here, and we are trying to set up a project to develop a digitized version of all the RC archives at Columbia University with your official permission. Thank you.